Well, I want to welcome you all to Forgotten Liberty Radio. This is our very first live broadcast. I know we're having some internet issues, so if you can't hear well, catch us later on our actual podcast feed. For those of you listening, you can go to our Facebook page, which will be linked in the description, to watch our live videos. It looks like our schedule so far, right, John, is going to be Saturday mornings. But that's probably subject to change depending on your schedule, depending on mine. But that's kind of what we're shooting for. So
that's the goal.
Yep. Alrighty. So, well, it's been quite a while. I think our last episode was way back in January, February.
I don't know.
It's been crazy.
We tried to do a couple.
Yep.
Matthew, technically dropped the ball and couldn't get them
uploaded.
uploaded.
Yeah. All sorts of technical difficulty this morning, obviously. I had a camera for myself, so unfortunately you can't see me. But you can see John's wonderful face, so that's important.
Probably better that way.
Alrighty. Well, what do you have, John? I think, so just to go over it, we're going to cover some local stuff, right?
Some state voting stuff.
Yep.
And then... well, I'm sure we'll get into some national stuff, but
yeah,
we're gonna try to do like different 15-minute-ish segments, about 3 of them.
Awesome.
And that way we can cover the local stuff, the state stuff, and anything that's important to us in general. We may meander along different paths at times because we're not, on our AD medication.
Sounds about right.
But it happens, right? When you,
yep,
intelligent people tend to wander. But,
yeah, exactly.
Good morning, everybody. We're glad to have you. We got a couple people watching live there, so.
Yeah, if you have questions, I don't think I can do this. I'm trying to figure it out. But drop questions for us if you have them. Here. Whoops. No, ask us question. That's not. No. Ask us a question.
I don't know what you're doing over there. I don't know how to do any of that.
So there should be a comment box that just opened up. If you're watching and you have questions and you want us to answer them, ask us a question. It should pop up right on your live feed there. I've actually never done this, so send us in your questions.
Well, all I see on our page.
Yes, I will get them to you when I see them.
I don't know what's going on there, but it's doing something. I'm like superimposed over the
yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Well, that's better. Now I see myself.
Now you just see yourself
live and in person.
All right.
There. It's a new studio for us, so all this is new stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're just starting out. Get that highlighter out of there. That'll drive me insane. We just ask that you all bear with us and share with your friends. We do bring to you some very important information. I don't know, I was sharing with Matthew earlier an excerpt from the candidate forum out of the Series Courier there. Our clerk recorder out of Stanislaus County. I think she's telling us not to engage in ballot harvesting activities with anybody. She says, to ensure that nobody will tamper with a completed ballot, voters are advised to never hand it over to a third party, but instead either drop it in the mail slot inside the post office or hand it in at one of the voting stations that will be set up in the county. So she goes on in the article to say that 77% of Stanislaus County already has mail-in voting. That's just the percentage of the county that votes by mail. That doesn't count the absentee voters or like that.
Yeah, and that's in the series courier, right?
Yeah, that's in the series courier. That's what we're looking at. Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. That was published as the insert.
Okay, I'm gonna try and find it. I was having an issue finding it earlier, but hopefully I'll be able to get in the link in the description.
Yeah, so that's what's happening. You know, the news from our county clerk. You know, don't be engaging in ballot harvest activity. Whether you're a fan of Mr. Harder or not, you know, that's some of the things that led to his choosing 2 years ago. And well, let's just say everybody that follows us knows that John thinks that Mr. Harder ain't the best man for the job. I mean, but we got to be frank, right, Matthew? John doesn't think that Ted House is necessarily constitutionally acceptable either.
Right.
One thing, if you're new to listening to me, you'll come to understand that I want these people to behave in a way that's consistent with their constitutional responsibilities, not, you know, well, we can pass it as a majority, so we're going to give it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how the video's working or if we can pull it up. I can turn it around and share with you.
Which is it?
You know, this issue of the series mayoral race.
I've
done a couple personal Facebook Live videos. It'd be nice. Maybe people can run over and check those out. But we got a candidate, Javier Lopez. Javier Lopez is like refusing to communicate with the series courier. You know, the editor can be a little rough on people he doesn't necessarily drink beer with, so to speak, have coffee with. I don't know. But Mr. Javier Lopez refuses. Right there. I'm not making nothing up. Refuses to communicate through traditional means. Unacceptable.
Yeah, I can't find that article still. I just can't find it. But there are a couple articles here. But it does seem like the series courier is slamming him pretty hard for not participating at all and not taking part at all.
He's on several other Central Valley television media.
So he's literally just
Stockton media and news,
okay.
And he's saying straight up he chose not to respond to the series courier.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
well, at least give us a reason, right? I mean, I feel like a mayoral candidate should at least give some sort of reason.
Well, his reason is that, you know, Jeff, the editor, might be baiting and switching him or might be looking for something that's going to, you know, try to portray him in a poor light.
Yes.
Look, this is what news guys, but this is what news guys do, right?
That's pretty normal.
I mean, it's Jeff's job to bring up the positives and negatives about everyone he's doing a story on, whether that's the kid that recently crashed his car into the Ceres Main Canal at Service Road. You know, it wasn't like, you know, and there's an article on that in the Ceres Courier that this guy, you know, 17-year-old in a 2008, I believe it was a Lexus, you know, rear-ended a car at Service in Mitchell, pushed that car into another car. Now, whether or not you agree with me that we are required to have driver's licenses or not, you know, I think that the vehicles are property and requiring us to pay a tax to utilize that property.
Right.
They don't make us have a horse riding license if we own a horse.
Right.
You know, I mean, and these are some of the constitutional things that people just accept. Yeah. It's a tax for utilizing our vehicle. But this gentleman's charged with, you know, hit and run, driving without a license, and the hit and run's legitimate. Driving without a license, I don't know. We all are going to have different views on that. But once you hit and run and then you park your car in my canal, and let's be straight up. I mean, we're ratepayers in TID. We're property owners. Matthew and I are both homeowners.
Yep.
and that's our canal. Bottom line. So that kid parked that in there. Jeff didn't hesitate to mention that the young man didn't have a license.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't slam the guy, but he didn't leave out the truth either.
Right.
So any reason why a candidate, especially for mayor in a town, wouldn't communicate through the traditional media while communicating through Central Valley TV or Stockton Media and News? Why does this guy go on Stockton Media and News? He's not running for mayor of Stockton.
Well, and they could also be doing the same thing. Like, if he did a complete media blackout, at least at least I would understand, like, okay, he's just avoiding all news media, but he's specifically ignoring the series Courier. That's weird to me. I don't understand that. That sounds like a personal issue to me.
And okay, I'm middle aged. Okay, I'm 40 something. I do both media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll do social media, I'll do electronic media, I'll do the traditional media. I subscribe to the Series Courier, you know, because it's my local paper.
Right.
And my point to Mr. Lopez, which was ignored, was that, you know, we have a large elderly population in Ceres. I mean, these people still get the Modesto Bee, as horrible of a newspaper as the Modesto Bee is. These people still take the Bee on a daily basis.
Yeah. These
people still take the Courier on a weekly basis. And that's pretty much the only local news they get. They're, you know, the 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds, most 60-some-year-olds are not on Facebook. They're not on social media where they're getting that. And this candidate is ignoring, you know, 90% of the people that actually get out and vote.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually find the demographic breakdown here. I have some of it sort of here, but I can't find.
And he's not the only one.
Yeah.
He's not the only one. This gentleman, Juan Vasquez, refused. Doesn't respond, right? Did not participate in the questionnaire. We got another one. Okay, Eric Gonzalez, Ceres City Council District 4, didn't respond. I've been told it's like $1,000 to pull your papers for city council. You're gonna spend $1,000, pull your papers, at least respond to the traditional media.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, did you need a tax write-off or what? Because if all you're looking for is $1,000 tax write-off, you're wasting space, man. You're wasting time.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the age breakdown here. It looks like you got a spike right around 30 to 45, but you're definitely starting to edge, like right in here. There's a spike on this side. I guess you guys have a lot more 10-year-old females in Sirius. I didn't know that was a thing. See that spike right there?
Female. Why are we keeping track of this?
I have no idea. World Population Review.
Well,
I looked it up.
It gets back to the census and why we're counting things we're not counting. I mean, these aren't even voting people. Now, I understand that those children need to be counted. They count towards our numbers.
Yeah,
But, you know.
We count random stuff that we probably don't need to.
10 years old, I don't care if you're 10 years old. I don't care what your age is, right?
Yeah.
If you're a citizen well, we've already been over that. You know, I'm not going to get into the racial connotations of the 14th Amendment or any of that.
Right.
Because it's just not important. We don't need to be counting every single person so that we can get a new fancy fire truck in town. You know.
Yeah. We had a episode on something like that at some point, right?
Yeah.
Looking back through our episodes, I think we had one. I'll drop it in the show description. The citizenship question, April 17th, 2019. That was our.
Well, yeah, they were all up in arms because they weren't going to put it on the. They were going to put it on the census. Well, yeah, we need to put it on the census.
Yeah, but they don't complain about asking race or anything like that. It's just the citizenship question.
Right. Well, you know why that is. Because we know what race most of the non-citizens in this nation are. I mean, let's face it. But when people don't understand what jurisdiction means,
Yeah.
it's an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the live video. It seems to be like way behind.
Yeah, it's way behind right now, and I'm watching my internet, and unfortunately, my internet just is not cooperating this morning. I'm seeing that about 65% of what I'm sending out, 65% of the traffic I'm sending out is just dropping. So hopefully it stabilizes a bit. If not, I'll drop the link in the live video, and if you can even hear me, hopefully they can even hear me, because that would suck if they couldn't. But anyhow.
Well, we'd drop the upload the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll probably get that done later this evening, afternoon, evening. So I'll get it up. And next week we will definitely. I'll fix this. I'll make sure this is taken care of. So
Cool.
it's weird because I'm normally streaming from the same office on a relatively regular basis now, and of course today, when I'm actually streaming an actual radio show, it's of course going to decide to cut out.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
No doubt. That's how it works. That's our luck, you know.
It's technology. It's sentient. It knows when you actually need it, and it's like, nah, not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah. Well, you know, we are in Stanislaus County.
It's true, and we have really sucky internet here. I when I lived in Modesto, we had fantastic internet through Xfinity, and we just don't get the same type of service here. Charter's terrible.
Wow, man. Well, it's got to be better than the landline service that I get, the 25 MPS.
Well, in some ways, yes. That's a whole nother discussion of broadband versus cable. But yes and no. It can depend. It can depend. I just want Xfinity.
Well, you know, AT&T. I'm in this older neighborhood in Ceres, and so if I was in a newer neighborhood, I could get internet for like $39.99. But I'm in an older neighborhood, and I get like 25 kPS for.
Yeah. So
which is nothing, right? It's slower than snot.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah. So do you not have an option to have them come out and upgrade?
Yeah,
your service
to 50.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we can't get higher than 50.
I pay for 300.
Well, right now. Can't get higher than 350 or higher than 50.
That's crazy.
It just won't go through the old, 2-pair line.
So they basically they need to incentivize AT&T to run better lines to your neighborhood.
Well, here's the problem. We've been paying the same money in that neighborhood that everyone has all along.
Yeah.
Right? But now that if you're in a new neighborhood with fiber,
yeah.
Right, AT&T will provide you with internet for $39.99, like light speed, laser, sonic, right?
Yeah.
But here I am stuck in 1980 internet because AT&T, even though they've already made their money multiple times over on that line that runs in my neighborhood, and they can hook it to the fiber that's on Whitmore.
Yep.
And you can't tell me they haven't replaced the main fiber line, the main lines running down Whitmore with fiber.
I would assume that they have. That would be insane if they haven't.
Well, why are we keep spending all this money to upgrade everybody's infrastructure? And then I'm stuck on Flint. See, it upsets me because I spend a lot of money for 200 telephone minutes for my fax line, and for internet I'm spending $90 a month because their infrastructure can't keep up.
Yeah.
And then I look into like Charter. So if I want Charter, then I can't live stream. I can't look. We're on Charter right now. It's crashing. Charter, get your act together. I mean, seriously. And then that leads me into another thing, like the city of Ceres right now, because of this state law that was passed some years ago. We got to go to a 3-can system for our garbage. They're going to raise us up almost $11 over the next 2 years.
Ugh.
Yeah, they're going to give us a brown can. I mean, a black can, I guess. Who cares what color can it is? There's going to be an organics can, a garbage can, and a green waste can. Right now we have a leaf and limb service where we can put leaves or limbs in the street. And Bertolotti comes and scoops that stuff up, takes it away, maybe composts it. More than likely, that's how they do all this green waste. But now, because state law, we're going to have to sort out our organics, your banana peels, your vegetables, any fruit scraps, any papers that have food waste on them, and put those in a separate can. So again, anything that can be composted,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then you're going to have all your green waste go in that, and you're losing the leaf and limb pickup.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got all these trees. All these cities around here made this big push in the late 80s for Tree City USA, another federal program, state program we didn't need to fund at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now we're going to do away with the leaf and limb, but you were required to have a tree. Right? We're required by state law or city law to have a tree. We're required to maintain that tree, but we're not going to haul the stuff off. But don't cut the tree totally down because that's a city tree. Right? Well, if it's a city tree, bring yourself out, you trim it, you haul the stuff.
Yeah.
If I got to trim it, then you need to leave the leaf and limb alone because it's not my tree.
Yeah.
You're making me do the labor. You ought to at least cover that in my trash service. I shouldn't have to take that down to the disposal location.
Yeah.
That doesn't. And the bill that they're going to raise us up with, and the reasons that Bertolotti's using for needing to increase the fees, these are all things that these waste companies lobbied for in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it doesn't even take into consideration, Matthew, what happens to the garbage in Stanislaus County. How many of these people know about Fink Road landfill? We're incinerating everything out there. Very little in volume is going back into the landfill. We're landfilling ash in this county.
Sure.
Because that garbage is being incinerated. That's used to heat water to turn a steam turbine.
Okay.
So somebody out there, a private company, probably under contract, is making electricity off of our garbage. But now, all the recyclables have to come out. Mm-hmm. So they're using us to sort the recyclables. They're using us to sort the compostable material out.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going out there to incinerate at this, multi-million-dollar plant?
Yeah.
Okay? We got nothing even incineratable going out there. So now what's going to happen? We got a landfill based on a principle that you've done away with via state law.
Interesting.
After it had to be built to particulate emission standards.
That's
crazy. That's like totally renewable energy out there.
Yeah.
And now that we're going to be separating everything out, well, the compostable stuff is going to go for, soil amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And all these waste companies are recycling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the waste transportation business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, albeit liquid, but anything we can resell as a fertilizer, we resell as a fertilizer. Anything we can resell for power generation that can go in a. Now I'm not reselling it because all this stuff has to go to like a sewer treatment plant, but 90% of 90% of what I haul goes to a sewer treatment plant to be put into a digester to make electricity for East Bay Municipal Utility District. And we pay a hefty sum to EB Mud to dump this stuff, and they generate power to run their entire facility on it. Now, I'm not bitter about having to pay money to make money.
Yeah.
But here we are, Bertolotti's is wanting to buy 2 new trucks. Partly in compliance with the CARB air standards for diesel vehicles. Mm-hmm. And now, we're being told they got to buy new trucks. They got to hire new employees to do all the sorting and this and that. And that's why our rates got to go up, to tune of $11 per house.
That's crazy.
Well, it is. And failure to plan on their part doesn't constitute an emergency on our part where our bills got to go up $11 over the next 2 years and we have to lose service.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think our rates were forecasted to double for our water in the city of Turlock and anybody who's on TID.
Well, why?
That's a whole
because we're building this thing out here at Fox Grove, you know.
Well, it's on hold now. As soon as Amy took became mayor, she stopped it.
They're still building it.
They may have restarted. I don't know. All I know is as soon as she took office, she said we need to stop, and then she may have restarted, and I was gone.
Well, it doesn't matter. The state has mandated so much of our water come from the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And
well,
okay,
and
so,
the pollutants that are in the water, they've changed how much of certain things that you can have in it. So they have had to close a bunch of wells around the city that they were normally drawing from because of high levels of this and that.
who do you think for that? Every governor we've
Yep.
had the past 20 years, every president, Bill Clinton came in and lowered the drinking water standard by executive order. Nobody takes into consideration these presidents have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, so what are they going to do in Kansas? Take Kansas, for example, real close to Arkansas, but there's a high sodium level in their water. Why would that be? What's sodium?
Salt, right?
Yeah, and there's a ton of salt mines around there, so there's bound to be salt in your water.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what we got: high levels of uranium, high levels of arsenic, according to today's standards. But standards of 100 years ago, people lived just as long as we are, drinking that same water without running it through, polymer-based plastics to filter it. Now they're telling us we have a microplastic issue in our waters, and we got to go to surface waters and this and that.
Yeah.
It's all government scam.
Isn't a lot of it?
Everything is.
Yeah.
So we know the water deal, that's a Turlock and Series deal.
Yeah. It's an issue.
And it's all to comply with state law. Which who protects us from these ridiculous state laws? Who's supposed to? Our counties, our cities. But we're in a period of forever where, we just have to comply attitude.
Yeah.
Huh? Who makes up the cities? The people.
Yep.
Who makes up the counties? The people.
Yep.
Who addresses the government in these constitutions? The people, and we address them to what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Yet we continue to allow them to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. It's bad.
What your boy Josh Harder puts out that he's co-sponsoring this bill for air quality because of the fires. Well, first of all, get your federal self out of our forests. The federal government can own no land except for, it's very specific what the government can and cannot own.
Right.
And it is not forest in the western states, simply because you snuck it into an admittance bill. And then brings me to the other point. Josh Harder, he's going to make all these bills that deal with our water in California.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the admittance bills, and I've said this on our podcast in shows past, the admittance bills from the western states allowed the states to keep total control over our waters. So why do we have, if we've ceded this land and the forests to the national government, but we kept our water in those admittance bills. These are the bills that made the nation, or that made the state, right?
Right.
If we kept the rights to our water, why is our District 10 Turlock native Josh Harder jacking around in water as a federal representative?
He shouldn't be.
Well, he cares about us. Listen, you moron supporters of Josh Harder that can't read the Constitution. He don't care about you. He cares how many names his bills his name's attached to.
Yep.
So he can say, I did something for District 10. Look, I got, the federal government to give us our money back for water. I got the federal government to give us our money back to go after a swamp rat. How about you're in the House of Representatives, you're in Congress, you're where these financial bills originate. How about you say, these items that we're doing, Were never intended to be done by the federal government. We're going to take this money and we're going to give it back
Yep.
to the people. How
Yep.
about you say, how about you say as a U.S. representative that the I believe it's the 11th Amendment that says that the federal government can direct tax the people. How about you say we're going to do away with that and we're going to go back to apportioned taxes. The states will collect the tax, pay the federal bills through the states. Where the principles of this nation work correctly, where the states are able to say, no, we're not funding that. No, we're not sending Iran them millions of dollars. Right?
Yeah.
And then you get back to okay, let's bring this in. See, we kind of go all over the place. Our little 3-segment deal don't really matter around here, right?
No.
I got to get more structured.
It's all right. We're just coming back. That's our excuse, right?
Mm-mm.
No. You're not giving yourself excuses?
No, I go all over the place.
It's all right.
I always go all over the place, right?
We'll slowly get this better. I'm looking at Harder's voting record. I'm curious.
I don't even care. Harder's voting record sucks, dude.
It's terrible. So and I'm gonna just mention this to people. GovTrack.us. This is what I've been following along with, just to see. And I get emails about what he's voted on, what he's doing. And unfortunately, it doesn't work for local politicians. It's only a federal thing. I can't even do. It's federal. And I can't do local. I don't even know that I can do state stuff here. But it's a good website to be able to look at.
I mean, you can't
where
even
you're
look at the state of California because where are we in California? You know that they go on vacation because they might get the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the only one to legitimately say something other than COVID-19 on this coronavirus deal? And I think we got to mention it because it just happened the past day. You know, the presidential doctor has been the only one to come out and say the president has contracted SARS COVID-2.
Yeah.
Now, let's be accurate in what that means. That it's SARS. It's not COVID-19. It's SARS. COVID is the shape of the virus. The designator is SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. The 2 means it's the second strain of that viral infection that we've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
The 19, the year, none of that matters. And the politicians, especially Governor Newsom, that guy is the stupidest dude on the planet. Okay? Wearing masks is the stupidest thing that we could be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's making you feel good, but it's not saving you.
Well, and I think for me at least too. Is unless you're wearing an N95 and wearing it properly and taking the proper.
It's not even an N95 though, right? Because still N95 is not
95
totally sealed to your face.
Right.
Right? So unless you're wearing a gas mask with supplied air, you're not stopping the virus from coming into contact with you.
Well, but even still, at least an N95 is sort of kind of blocking, at least not these cloth masks that 90% of people wear.
Well, why? Because they said it does?
This is true.
Okay, does it have a free exit port? Huh.
Yep. Yeah.
Everybody's seen the videos with the vape going around these things and through all these free exit ports and everything. So, this asymptomatic stuff is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully Donald Trump and his wife get better. Hopefully everybody that's afflicted with it gets better. But 204,000 deaths out of 329 million plus is not a travesty, and it's not something that we should be all scared about.
No.
I mean, look at Stanislaus County. I don't know where we are today, but I keep showing that it's not a big deal here. In our cities, they're still not allowing us into the rooms for for city council meetings. The county's kind of loosened up a little bit, but the people we got up there are scared little morons. I don't care which one of them it is.
We have 368 cases currently, or sorry,
No,
368
deaths. But how many of those are actually coronavirus?
Yeah.
And when I say actually coronavirus, I mean that's the only thing you died from. This comorbidity, co-whatever, co-nothing. Something killed you.
Yeah.
And unless it was just COVID, there's no reason to even be discussing it as a COVID death.
Well, and it's super hard to even determine what that means. Look at this. Look at this. They're presumed active, 212 cases.
Yeah, what's the word presumed mean?
So if I'm doing this, if I'm looking at this math correctly, it looks like cases minus recovered minus deaths, right? That number looks about right. I'm just doing the math off the top of my head.
Right.
Can you see that okay?
Right. Yeah.
So
492 possible cases. What does the word possible mean?
Yeah.
This is what infuriates me about our citizenry. I mean, you're a bunch of morons. If I put the word possible and presumed in front of the word cases, okay?
Hold on, let's look at this. It looks like there are 55 current hospitalizations from COVID-19 tests, which means that we only have how many? 150 people walking around.
Doesn't matter.
Quote unquote walking around. That's a ridiculous.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be in their house for 2 weeks or whatever.
Right.
150 something out of what? Out of 500,000?
500,000 people. 500. I believe the number I keep on using is 500. It's like
I'm over it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. At this point, it's ridiculous because I mean, not that I agree with it, but when he was around 1,500 people per active cases, it made a little more sense.
But it
Possibly.
never was.
But it never was. It never was. When you look at the absolute number, it's scary. It says as of 2010, no, that's not it. 550, 660. 550,000 people. So that's a tiny percentage of the entire county. And let's see. Let's look at neighborhoods here too. We can see exactly where they are. Well, ish. Well, and you know what frustrates me too is the way that these cases are counted.
Well, it doesn't matter.
But
it doesn't matter. The test is so sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So sensitive.
Well, I had a friend who we're 90% sure that she had COVID, but she got a negative test back. I think it's just because she didn't take it right. But all of her and her family members, like,
I'm 100% sure that I was sick.
Yeah.
November, December.
That's like a lot of the population.
Like bad sick.
Yeah.
Okay. But not like dying sick. Like stay away from people. Don't make nobody else sick. I didn't give it to myself driving a truck either. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was attending normal social gatherings in towns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I picked it up somewhere. But a lot of people very sick this year. So it's a real strong flu this year. What we'd normally call a flu. And because the government gave it a name, we gotta be all scared little people.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
at this point, I mean, there are definitely areas that got hit pretty hard, right? Like New York City and some places like that have a high case plus death rate. But we're not.
Well, you're going to have that anyways because of population density.
Right. We aren't that, especially us.
So stop living in high rises up each other's backsides.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
But we come into our governor's got us locked down in this county. We're widespread because 7 people out of 500,000 might test positive today. When we
That's stupid.
Well, we know that there's a high probability of a false negative or a false positive.
Right, exactly. Right.
So for him to sit there and say we're going off the science, and for our assembly to close down and say we're going to stay at home because it's dangerous for us to work. Look, there's only 21 people if you divide that by 2, it only takes 63 people to determine what happens for, 39 plus million people. Which brings me to the other point. You've heard me on my other videos. People have seen me put stuff up about this 8 from 1 divided together. The Americans Restoring Representation that I'm involved in. We're this podcast pretty much founding members of this deal.
Yeah.
With Sharon Durst and well, what's Terry's last name? Girardi?
Yeah. Terry G.
Yeah, Terry G. Wonderful ladies. Those 2 gals are some of the best people I know. But it brings me to this area number 4, or state number 4 that we want to see happen. That'd be almost 2 million, just under 2 million people.
So this is like our Stanislaus area, right?
Yeah, well, it'd be Stanislaus, San Joaquin.
Zoom in on this real quick. Yeah,
well, we do it in alphabetical order. Alpine County, Calaveras County, San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, Tuolumne County.
Yeah.
Merced, Mariposa, Mono, and Madera. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Americans Restoring Representation would like to see as a state. That's 1,770,514 people.
And that's one state.
That would be one state.
Can you give us like a real quick overview of that? Because I have a feeling some of our podcast listeners might not know what you're talking about and might be what the heck is this talking about?
The 8 from 1 divided together?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we're saying is Americans Restoring Representation. We got a lot of issues in California. Some of the people that follow New California or the state of Jefferson deals, know all of those topics.
Right.
We're basically taking this from that. We're ostracized members of state of Jefferson movement.
Yep.
Because we say, your CFR lawsuit, which has proven since I vocalized the very same words that the appellate court used to be the case. All these things have to be done through constitutional amendment.
Yep.
So we tried our petition. We were just getting rolling with the petition when this whole pandemic hit. And were subsequently unable to gather the requisite number of signatures to submit to the Attorney General for placement on the ballot. Because if you can't go door to door, if you can't commingle with people outside your family, you can't garner signatures for a constitutional amendment.
Right.
So this 8 from 1 is born out of the desire for adequate representation. Americans Restoring Representation believes that because California is bankrupt, it's unsustainable. Because California's legislature is unresponsive to the people and unresponsive to the issues that face the state, that we either need to increase membership there, or we need to dissolve the state of California and start over with 8 smaller states. That's the official view of Americans Restoring Representation. I'm just one of the co-founders of that, and that's what we're pushing. Now, if multiple areas decide that through this process they want to commingle, that would be fine with me. Whatever the people want there, but I don't believe that this, just because a handful of people in a county can drive up to Sacramento and declare to be with a movement.
Yeah.
That they're lumped in on that map.
Yeah. Yeah.
especially since that state of Jefferson movement in this county's like falling apart big time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is.
You know, uh, and that's through no fault of anyone's other than the Mr. Baird, Mr. Raposa,
Well, just the
Miss
massive
Miss
catastrophic failure of leadership.
well Miss Roberson. I
Yeah.
mean, these are the leaders, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To ignore what I was prophesying, to ignore my constitutional education on the issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're told I was wrong, and the appellate court kind of sees it exactly how I do.
Well, and you all but gave them the same wording that the appellate court said, anyways.
I give them the same wording a year and a half before the appellate
Well, and we
court
said
did.
it on this podcast too. Well, you said it on this podcast. I didn't say this on this podcast.
Some people were still trying to, stroke the egos of certain men.
Yeah, and I mean, the frustrating thing is that it like once you pointed out that it wasn't gonna go right, it's not like the movement was destined to fail. Like we can put all the energy into something else.
Yeah,
We
well,
just we could put it into something like
I'm putting my energy into state
yeah,
number
exactly.
4 out of 8.
Right.
And I've already said, what do those counties have in common?
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about it, people. What does Alpine County, Calaveras County, San Joaquin County, Stanislaus, Tuolumne, Merced, Mariposa, Mono, and Madera counties? This is the traditional territory of the Miwok Indian.
Mm.
This is the Yosemite, the greater Yosemite Valley area. Okay? This is one of the biggest watersheds in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where we have some of the oldest water rights in the nation.
Yes.
Not the state and the nation.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest irrigation districts. And we're making food for the world here,
Yeah, exactly.
And the vegetation of this valley's been feeding peoples for centuries,
Mm-hmm.
for millennia. And being that this proposed state number 4 is the historical territory of the Miwok Indian, and through my desire to honor those who come before me, and my desire to tie in everything regionally and culturally, and I'm kind of like the figurehead of this state formation, and I'm the constitutional voice behind a new state formation.
Mm-hmm.
I know Raposa, Baird, and Preston aren't. They're just stroking their egos, and they've made some big mistakes with how they're going about doing this. We have to repair the representation in California first.
Yeah.
And even if we do that and it solves our problems, then we don't need this. But I have a feeling that it's definitely time to break 40 million up. I mean, that's my gut deal from the get-go.
A lot of people.
We're looking at this Miwok territory, this Yosemite territory. We've had quite a few fires. We've had issues affect us that are affecting the rest of the state, where state laws and executive orders and stuff are concerned that don't do anything but harm us. And I've been public on this, that I believe the name of this state should be the state of Ahwahnee. And Ahwahnee means, deep grassy valley in Miwok or Big Mouth. We all know why I favor the Ahwahnee. I'm kind of a big mouth. I tell you people how it is and like that. But I also want to honor that Miwok heritage that we have here.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I just got to tell you that the state of California is still violating the Miwok people on a daily basis. We have this sovereign nation, and you
Mm-hmm.
know they have these casinos, and they've been forced into ridiculous taxes as well, tax agreements with the state of California that they shouldn't have to pay the state anything. That's their land. If they want to gamble in their tribal nation, then they should be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the state and the federal government's not entitled to any of that revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it just not that it's a violation of the treaty with that nation for California to even have that agreement. And our
Mm.
government's been violating us and the sovereign nations for a long time. I'm telling you what, if we're successful in the state of Awani, and you should share this with all your Native American friends, people, because if we're successful, there will be a constitutional section that deals with that we will instruct the government of the state of Awani or state number 4 out of this 8 from one divided together that there will be no entering into treaties with the Native American
Mm.
nations, that's a federal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
man, I don't think that one person in any of the counties listed would disagree with allowing those nations to participate in our society, because we already do, and
Mm-hmm.
those tribes contribute a great deal to the wealth and the success of our area.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, uh,
Yeah.
and at the same point are paying extortion to the state of California, which doesn't need to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully, I'm sitting down with the state assemblyman uh,
That'd be good.
from this area this week to go over my proposed amendment to the state constitution. We tried to petition. We couldn't get that through because of COVID kind of shut us down there.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped seeking redress of the very very dismal representation levels that we have in California.
Mm-hmm.
And my next attempt is to try to educate in a totally nonpartisan way our assembly members and have them educate each other in the process. Lobbying doesn't have to have a lot of money. Lobbying can be educational, and it can be grassroots, and it can be from one person or the other.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I'd like to go with it.
Sounds good. So we can go to AR4all.org.
Yeah, we're Dauntless Communications is taking over the hosting of the website. Eric Eisenhammer and his team up there have been very easy to work with. If you need website hosting or any of this, please contact Dauntless Communications. They sponsor the race card there too, so they've helped out quite a bit with ARR. They've helped out quite a bit with your State of Jefferson movement. They're just really nice people and great patriots up there at Dauntless Communications.
We'll drop that a link down in the description as well for them. Yeah, so I'll drop the links in as well for ARR for all. You probably saw the website there for a second if you are watching. Let me pull up the ARR for all, so you should be able to see it. ARR4all.org.
Well, and that'll change a little bit. That was based for the petition, and now that we're moving in this other direction, you'll see changes to that website where it will start to focus on the 8 from 1 divided together, the 8-state formation, and the representation increases in the state of California and federally as well. We've all been privy to the conversations we've had about the apportionment acts and the representation issues and the ways to correct those here. So it's going to be changing. Dauntless is working on that currently, and
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure you'll be able to go there, get information, print it out, share it with your friends here in the near future. But we gotta start moving towards repairing what the founders gave us,
Mm-hmm.
and part of that is educating the assembly members in California how to address the lack of representation because they don't know, and how to amend our constitution in a way that nullifies Reynolds versus Sims. It's an opinion, it's not a ruling. It does not apply because it's not constitutional.
Yeah.
The only reason that decision, that opinion works is because Earl Warren took and applied the California state constitution to the entire nation, in his opinion.
Mm.
And you don't hear these things from other people. You won't hear this on a Sunday radio show anywhere. But you got to know that we are the people, and we, through our states, nullify Supreme Court opinion. We nullify executive orders on the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
We nullify repugnant congressional statute legislation.
Mm-hmm.
We do that through our states. And just like we can nullify those actions, we can nullify the actions of the governor's executive orders.
Mm-hmm.
We can nullify the actions of our state Supreme Courts. And we can nullify the actions of our counties.
Yeah.
We control those boards, not the boards. So I don't know where else we could go today. Is there anything that you want to touch on?
I don't have anything right now other than
people are going to start
obviously
getting their ballots out here soon. So
it's all and reminder that Stanislaus is all mail in, right?
Stanislaus, state of California is all mail in.
True. Well, I heard from somebody else that there were parts of California that were not mail in, like LA County. I don't know why. I don't know whether that's accurate or not.
That
but
because Newsom's executive order in the Senate bill.
Yeah. Well, I was hearing. I don't remember who. I feel like it was Ben Shapiro who said polls were open down there. I mean, polls would be open, obviously.
Well, they can do whatever they want, but that doesn't mean it's. I mean, see, we could do it here.
Yeah.
If Miss Linder, Mrs. or Ms. However.
Yeah.
Would use her position, Donna.
Yes.
If she would utilize her position and say no, my people want to vote in person.
Well, it's the same thing as our sheriff too, right? They don't understand that they have the power to do a lot of things.
Our sheriff's a moron.
Yeah. Well, okay, so, and I was out of state when this happened, but back when Atwater decided to open up, Atwater and Merced County led the state in saying, we are not going to go with this. We're just going to open it.
Merced County's locked down tighter than a popcorn fart, bub.
But Atwater, right? The Atwater City Council voted to leave things open.
Okay, Atwater did, but
our sheriff had an example to follow and could have done the same for our county.
Our sheriff's had an example right here on this microphone for years that he hasn't been accessing, that he hasn't been utilizing.
Yeah.
He's had an example in the United States Constitution. But what I said before, Jeff Dirksy's a hell of a commander in war, but he's a piss poor sheriff.
Sure.
And he's a tyrant.
Yeah.
He's a traitor. Because you're not a soldier anymore, Jeff. You're a sheriff. You're the Shire Reeve, and it's your responsibility to stand up for my right.
Right.
My right to keep and bear an arm, to possess and brandish an arm without permission from you.
Yeah.
And we got to go there because that's the second. And if you won't protect my second, you won't protect my first or my 25th or my 90,000th if it gets to that point.
Yeah. Well, and remember what he said, right? If the federal government mandated a gun confiscation program or whatever, what did he say he would do? Do you remember?
Oh,
he's going to step down. That's ridiculous.
Well, I don't care what he's going to do.
Well,
Step down now because you're just sitting there. So we've
Yeah, good luck
changed
with that.
the responsibilities of our sheriffs from protectors of right to budgetary officers within the county.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't care how many cars you need.
All right. Well, do you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, people are going to start getting their ballots, so maybe
Okay.
next week we'll give them some
Sounds
you
good.
know, Howard Jarvis
Yeah.
Stuff, some
Sounds good.
Central Valley Taxpayer Association stuff. What do you call those? Suggestions. They're not suggestions. They're endorsements.
Endorsements. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think most importantly, find out who's running in your area for what. Right? That's super important. I know lots of people who are like, I don't even know who's running for city council. I don't know who's running for supervisor. I don't know any of these things. Honestly, this upcoming election, local stuff matters.
I can tell you right now, Ceres mayor, it ain't Javier Lopez.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
And besides the racial stuff that he's engaged in, or the fact that his platform is all school board member stuff, he's pushing the Latino issue.
Okay.
He's on the Stockton Media and News is very racially motivated.
I'm sure
he's up there doing that. He's using.
Why is he up?
Because he's.
I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Because he's stupid. Okay. Some people are ignorant, and some people are just plain stupid.
He doesn't need San Joaquin's vote, though. He's running for Ceres mayor.
Mayor Ceres.
He doesn't need
zero government education, zero government involvement. This guy's claim to fame is he's the freshman football coach for Central Valley High School, right?
Okay. Yeah. I
mean, he wants kids to be entrepreneurs. He wants to have a city program to educate kids on how to be entrepreneurs. He wants a city program on how to, get people out to the football games. He wants the city of Ceres to institute a parade for the crosstown rivalry game. I mean, these are not city issues. These are school board issues. And Mr. Javier Lopez.
Well, and besides the fact that who cares?
Needs to stick to teaching football.
Right. Well,
3 months a year instead of running the city of Ceres because he has no clue.
Does he have any political background at all?
Yeah.
Just school board stuff?
No, he's the high school freshman football coach, and he has to run in that clique, right? And don't get me wrong, high school football coaches over at Central Valley High School, it's a very political environment. I mean, you got to be one of the Joneses, man. To be in football at Central Valley High, you got to be one of the Joneses. And I've said it publicly on other social media platforms and pages. Javier Lopez is one of the guys teaching these kids that have piss poor sportsmanship.
No, that's not great.
No, those kids aren't playing high school ball. They're playing professional style, take you out football. And the coaches are allowing it.
Interesting.
Right? So you look at collegiate ball, isn't the same as the NFL.
Yeah.
And the gameplay's different.
Okay.
Well, okay, high school football, collegiate football, it's all supposed to be academic.
Yeah.
It's all different than professional.
Yeah, right.
You know?
That's
we don't have that. And he's bringing that mentality into the mayor's race. I think he's playing on. So they've called his opponent Brett DeRossett a racist. You know, Brett DeRossett's been teaching school over there at Ceres. You know, almost better
Of
part
course
of
they
3
did.
decades.
Of course they call him racist. That's what House has been called too, for basically no reason. There's no reason.
I don't know. I'd like to see House do some other stuff. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean you've been pretty vocal.
He's
and
conveniently silent on this coronavirus issue as a medically trained individual. And why? That's all political. That's so he doesn't offend anybody.
Yeah.
But of all people, his voice is gonna carry weight.
Right, and I think that's the frustrating thing about what I'm seeing specifically with House is that he says some good stuff, but then when it comes to like COVID stuff like this, I haven't seen anything from him at all.
So is he a doctor or is he a damn politician? Because he's playing really good politics right now.
Sure.
He's silent on things that have absolutely to do with his specialty.
Yeah.
And if you're silent on the important things now, you're going to be silent on the important things later, and you're going to let them violate us, Ted.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm going to check either box in that race.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Alrighty, well, we are running a little over time, but that's all right. We had technical difficulty. The stream finally stabilized. It's now working fine. Of course, right at the very end. Remember what I said about technology earlier?
Yeah, but Pat couldn't hear us.
Pat couldn't hear us. It sounds like she can now. I don't know. If she's listening, Pat, message me. Let me know. This is our first attempt at this.
Yeah, hopefully next week's better.
I've been doing streaming for a very long time. I have never streamed a podcast like this before. This is totally new to me.
Well, so should I get charter internet or should I tell them blow them off?
Don't try it. Don't try it. I'm trying to get AT&T fiber here, actually.
Well, I can't get AT&T fiber.
Call them. I have talked to 2 different store reps that said, oh yeah, we can get fiber in your area. You have to pay $100 install fee, which I'm like, you know what? Sure. I will pay $100 install fee to get blazing fast internet.
They're not going to put fiber in my neighborhood.
I know. Well, we don't have fiber in this neighborhood either, but I called the store rep and they said, yes, we're able to do that in your neighborhood. Like I gave them my address and everything. They said, but the problem is we as the store can't dispatch corporate representatives to come to your house, right? So call corporate. Here's the number. Tell them this. And I've done this twice now. I've talked to
I'm
two students.
I'm on a 1954 2-pair line, dude.
Well, you should be able to get it upgraded. If you as the homeowner want to pay the money,
I'm not paying them nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not paying them nothing.
It's worth it for me because I work from home.
You know what?
And I do stuff like this.
If I need faster internet, I'll turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone or my iPad because Verizon gets it done. Yeah,
well, I mean that's why Xfinity is good.
Well, I don't know. Do we need to hotspot through our cellular devices because the land-based stuff doesn't seem to be getting it done for us. But alrighty, that can go on a blooper reel.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, well, I want to thank everybody for listening, and if you're watching, thank you for hanging tight with us through our technical difficulties. If you're interested in listening to this episode, if you're watching, I dropped in the comments our website. Take a look at that. I'm going to be throwing our editing this episode and putting it up there over the next day or so, hopefully. Fingers crossed, hopefully. If you're interested in listening to our podcast, please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any place where you get your podcast. Please subscribe. We really appreciate your support. John, any closing words?
Hey, we can make our own future. We can make our own states. We can do it constitutionally. We can do it without much fanfare. It's not going to happen overnight. But if we want it, it can happen. If you want to be involved, and if you're in one of the counties mentioned, Alpine, Calaveras, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, Tuolumne, Mariposa, Merced, Mono, or Madera, my Facebook's wide open. You can get a hold of me there. Drop me a private message there. Drop us a message at Americans Restoring Representation on Facebook. Drop us a message here at Forgotten Liberty Radio on Facebook. Send us an email. Get a hold of us however you can, and we will get you involved. All it takes is talking to our representatives. The more of us that are educating them, the faster we get things back to reality.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Yep.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Alrighty. Sounds good. You too, John, and everybody else. Stay safe out there.